They started back in 2014 with 2 trucks, 2 notebooks, and a cool name. Fast forward to today, they've got thousands of customers and a whole fleet of vehicles and a whole lot more. Welcome to White Trash Services. Let's go check them out.
When you think digital marketing, think ThriveFuel. Websites, social media marketing, advertising, and much more. ThriveFuel is professional digital marketing.
Welcome to Meet Victoria, where we'll get to know the people, businesses, and heroes that make this community special. I'm Caleb Shaw, owner of Shaw Realty and your host. Now let's go meet Victoria. Miss BJ, thank you so much for having us. We are really excited to be here today.
Oh, thank you for coming. We're excited to have you.
Well, I can tell you guys have put a lot into this building. It looks spectacular. I can't wait to see it all. You've got 2 yards?
We do.
2 yards, yes. I'm excited to see them. And we get to meet Scott later, and he's got something for me to get my hands a little bit dirty, perhaps. And so, yes, ma'am. So what do you say we go check out that tour?
Sounds like a plan.
Let's do it. What I really appreciate about what you guys have going is I can see this little walk through history lane here, and that you guys come from humble beginnings, and it's really been an adventure to grow into where you're at now. And so if you wouldn't mind, I'd love to kind of walk and talk and see some of these things.
Absolutely.
And hear a little bit about you guys.
Absolutely. So we started out with 2 trucks that we bought from the gentleman we bought the company, and they're long gone by now. We kept them at a pasture where we had our cows, because we're already paying for it, so we might as well.
Makes sense.
Then we kept the trash cans at our house. Scott was awful happy to get a shop so that he got his parking space back in the garage. And kept the trucks there, did maintenance at the pasture, and then we got into the dumpster business, kept the dumpster trucks there, and just did what we had to do.
And that's just, about 1/10 of what you guys do. I know what kind of put you on the radar with me is how active you guys are in the community, because every time there was something going on in the community, I ran into you out there because you were part of it or looking to be a part of it. And so what's kind of you all's, thoughts on giving back and being part of the community? You think it's important?
Oh, 100%. And I always say, why not? When somebody says, are you going to sponsor that? I'm like, aren't you? Why not? So we're very involved with the Victoria Generals. We've bought jerseys at their games. We're really involved with Stock Show, which is this time of year right now, with the kids, because they're our future.
Mm-hmm.
They're the people that are going to come looking for jobs here. They're going to come looking for jobs with you. And if we can help them grow in their character and hard work, with their activities, then it's definitely somewhere we want to put our money.
And that's one of the things I appreciate you guys is you really stress the hard work. And I know I've met your son, and he's done some work for me, because there's no free rides, and which I think is spectacular, by the way. My parents do that, and I'm grateful now that they did. But that was one of the things is it seems everything that he has, you guys make him work for it, and the power of hard work. And I know as a community, we appreciate seeing you guys at this, and I appreciate that you hold that mantra of hard work out in front of us. It's not just a freebie. It's not, hey, you work, you earn, we'll sponsor and we'll support you.
Go work for it.
Absolutely, So I think that's pretty spectacular, and I really love seeing all the history that you guys have through here, because it kind of shows who you all are and where your heart is. And so I'm really excited to see all this, and I'm really excited to go out and see Scott too, because I know he's got some cool stuff coming for us. So let's sneak out and go check it out if you don't mind.
I think we should.
I started off as a math teacher in Houston. 3 years later, I found myself here in Victoria teaching high school math still, anything from algebra to calculus. My favorite thing teaching here at Sylvan would be the size. We get 1 to 3 students per session, and I think that's a good amount of students for teachers to have that one-on-one with students while still being able to teach and manage other students. That helps with the students' learning, the students' ability in showing that knowledge.
Welcome to Furniture Warehouse Direct. I've got lots of furniture that we've just set back out. If you're needing something right away, come into the store, check it out. You can take right off the floor. We have Simmons Beauty Rest, Simmons Hybrid, and we have Simmons Beauty Rest Black. Our selection of bedroom sets right now, solid wood. We have some with self-closing drawers. We still carry a little bit of everything. We're budget friendly for every budget. We have financing options. We have leasing options. Check us out at FurnitureWarehouseDirect.com. And we're at 2110 John Stockbauer in Victoria, Texas.
right, gang, we just wrapped up our awesome tour with BJ. She's got some stuff to take care of, so we're gonna go meet up with Scott. He's out in the field. We're gonna go find him, and he's gonna get me geared up and teach me how to do a little trash compacting. Let's go check it out. Thanks so much for having us, man. We've had a ton of fun already, and this is usually my favorite part of the show where I actually get to do something. My son loves trash trucks. These are his favorite thing in the world, and so I'm really excited to get to learn how to work the trash compactor and all that stuff. But if you wouldn't mind real quick, walk me through. What kind of truck is this? How do you use it? And what are we going to be doing here, my friend?
This truck is one of our rear loader trucks that we use for residential trash service. So trash cans at the house, and we're going to dump that trash can there into the truck and sweep it up in.
Outstanding. All right, so can you walk a novice like me? Can you make me look like a pro doing this here?
Sure.
Outstanding. All right, where do we jump in, brother? What do I need to do here?
Stand right up here to where you can see, kind of on this corner where you can see.
Yes, sir.
But you don't want to be behind the truck because when you're sweeping things, it may come flying out.
That I appreciate that.
Safety-wise,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Safety first.
You bet. Then the top lever up here.
Right here?
There. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Go ahead and turn it this way.
I'm not sure which direction. There it goes.
Well, all right. All right.
Just keep going. And now push it the other way.
You do a little bounce action.
You can.
All right.
Make sure all the trash is out.
Got it.
Okay.
All right. I
now
did
then
that.
we're going to pull these two levers down.
At the same time?
Yep. Okay.
All right.
Let's push that one up. There we go.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. Once it gets all the way down, then we'll push both levers up. Now push both of them all the way up. All these trucks run a little different.
No, that's cool. Roughly, do you know how much these things will roughly hold?
Down, you just put them both in the middle.
Put them both in the middle,
There we
okay.
go. These trucks will hold 300, a little over 300 houses.
Wow.
300 cans.
How often do y'all have to dump when these get full? What do you guys do with them next?
We take them to the landfill.
Okay.
And they dump every day.
Do these? How do they dump? Is it the same? Do they
It's
raise
a-
up or what does it do?
No, actually, the way these dump is we do undo these turnbuckles here,
Yes, sir.
and this part here is called our tailgate.
Okay.
The whole tailgate swings up.
Wow, this whole section
This
comes
whole
up.
section is hinged right up there.
Wow,
That
okay.
cylinder opens the whole thing all the way up. Then there's a big blade in the front with a hydraulic ram on it, and it pushes
push-
everything out the back.
Wow, wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So you can hold 300 houses in here, roughly 300 properties in here.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
It'll be about 7-8 tons.
That's outstanding. So then, I would guess we need to take this off of here, return that back to the resident, and then we're done.
Ready to go.
How often do you decide when to do this when you're out on the routes? How often I know the
cycling?
guys kind of know. Yes, sir. The compactor.
Whenever
do
it
you
gets
do
full,
Okay.
whenever the hopper gets full,
Gotcha.
or full enough to where when you go to open the gate, it doesn't kick trash out.
Man, this is
Sweep it down
awesome.
close.
And how many different style trucks do you guys have?
We have 3.
Okay.
This is our rear load for residential.
Okay.
We have dumpster truck for commercial dumpsters, and some residents have dumpsters,
Gotcha.
which it's a front load. It picks up the can and dumps it over the top.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then we also have roll-offs, which is what we have out here for our big industrial
That awesome thing you
construction
dropped
stuff.
off the trailer over there
Yeah.
earlier, that was your
Yeah.
roll-off.
That's
Gotcha.
a roll-off.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, man, this is really cool. I'd really like to now, if you guys will entertain me, I'd love to move this inside and sit down and talk to you guys, because I'm really curious what made you wake up one day and decide to start a trash company and how this whole story really kind of evolved. And so, if you don't mind, what do you say we go inside and have a little interview and hear all about how you guys got this
Let's do
started?
it.
Outstanding. Let's go check it out.
You've got a smile now because you're in the parking lot. Some people dread their teller line, but there's a better place to bank. Aren't you glad that you bank at First State Bank? We're so glad that you came to First State Bank. Be at the friendliest bank anywhere.
Thank you for calling the First State Bank, the friendliest bank anywhere. How may I help you today?
Victory is the king of Kias. Isn't that right, Caroline?
That's no bull, Papa.
Just check out this all-new 2022 Kia Forte. It has standout styling, great fuel economy, and a lifetime powertrain warranty. And what do we do to the prices at Victory?
Try one, Papa.
Yes, to be the king of Kias, we're selling this new 2022 Kia Forte for just $179 a month. Remember, we're clobbering the competition at Victory Kia on the Navarro Motor Mile in Victoria.
All right, guys, thanks so much for having me. I have had a ton of fun. Like, I like this stuff, and like I said, from, you know, with my son, he's just been fascinated by trash trucks as long as all 3 years that he's been alive. But it's really neat, and I've been waiting to do this interview because I'm genuinely curious, like, how did this start? You know, I doubt it was as simple as one day one of you guys just woke up and said, let's go do a trash company. This sounds like what we want to do in life, and I think it's spectacular to see the growth and see where you started and to see where you are now. But I'd love to hear the very beginning of this story and give me the nuts and bolts. How in the world did this all come together? How did we get to White Trash Services?
Well, I had a 25-year career in sales, industrial sales, selling to chemical plants, refineries, any kind of processing plant across the country, and some international even. So I was never at home, and just happened to be home one day when the trash truck showed up. And so I started talking to the driver, and he said, I was going out to get the mail, I think. And he said, I think the old man that owns this wants to sell it. And I thought, I've got a friend that works in a plant that wants to get out. I said, so I told BJ, I said, let's call our friend and see if he wants to buy this business and so he can get out of the plant. He goes, why are we going to call him to do it? Why don't we do it?
For the record, I don't remember that.
I'm not going to challenge you. I'm staying out of this one, but proceed, sir. I'm not even going to get in that one.
I knew there was, I had a guy that was a couple years ahead of me in high school that started his own trash companies with a pickup and a trailer and built it up and ended up selling out and made several $1 million off of it. And I said, if Rusty could do that, then there's got to be some money in it. So got to thinking about it. We talked about it and prayed about it for about a year before we actually got the deal closed. And it was a wild ride just because the old man had no records. Everything was pen and paper. I mean, sending out invoices, it was handwritten address on the envelopes.
I think you guys said it was 2 notebooks. Everything was
2
in
notebooks.
2 notebooks.
Every customer had a page in the notebook, had a name and an address, and maybe a phone number.
Maybe.
Then he would have a date when he invoiced them and a date when they paid. That's all the records we got.
Humble beginnings.
Yes. We actually, through question and answering, asking him how much he spent on different things, different aspects of the business, you know, fuel, labor, insurance, taxes, you know, all that kind of stuff. I created a P&L for him because he didn't know anything about a P&L.
Yes, sir.
So I did that, could tell, okay, this makes sense, could see where the profitability was, and met with a friend of my father's, had a trash company he had sold, so we went and met with him and gave him all the information that we had and stuff, and at the end of that session with him, I asked him, I said, I got one more question. He goes, yes. I said, you didn't even hear the question. He goes, you're going to ask me if if it was me, would I do it? And he said, I would do it in a heartbeat. You got a gold mine sitting there. And I said, okay, so we did. So we pulled the trigger, did it, got started.
And then your cousin also.
Well, my cousin, Carl, who is our CFO, during the whole process of, starting to look at buying a business, I never bought a business before. I didn't know what I was doing. So I called him and said, hey, would you mind helping me? Well, background on Carl is he went to Boston University and got a finance degree, and then he went to Brown University, got a finance degree, and then went to Boston University and got his master's, his MBA. And he worked for big 8 accounting firms doing mergers and acquisitions, so for multi-billion-dollar deals that he was putting together. And so I said, I know it's kind of small compared to what you're used to. And he said, man, I'd love to do it. He said, those are fun to do. And he said, especially from the standpoint where you're coming from. So he helped me go through all this kind of stuff. And then at the end, I asked him, I said, well, what do I owe you? He said, you don't owe me anything. He said, the only thing I want is give me a very small percentage of the business. And I says, no, I'm not going to do that. I'll give you more than twice of what you're asking. But the catch is you come in and set up all the books and take care of all the accounting. I said, you've done these mergers and acquisitions for years, you've done audits, you've seen how things are done wrong. Here's your one chance to start from ground zero.
This is it. This
You'll
is your
have
moment.
only yourself to blame.
Yep, yeah, very wise.
And he would come on Sundays to do pay bills and payroll.
Because everybody was still working.
Yeah, first year I kept.
Everybody still had their other jobs. Yep.
Yep. Then it got to be Sundays and Mondays, and eventually, after about 4 years, I guess 5 years, we brought him on full time.
How have I know you guys started, like we said, with the 2 trucks and the 2 notebooks, and you're 18 trash trucks, 7 pickups, and the list goes on and on. What's been the learning curve? Was it something that when you first started that, hey, it kind of just rolled downhill, or were you ice skating uphill for several years till you caught some momentum? How did the early years go?
Actually, we didn't know this going into it. There was only waste management and a couple of very small, we call them chucking a truck, people picking up trash, in the rural environment. In the city controlled all that. But anytime once you got outside the city limits, that was it. That's all that was there. And of course, the majority of the people had waste management because that's the big name, that's the only one they knew. So word of mouth was part of it because we talked to different people about, we're going to do this trash county thing. And they said, man, let us know. We'll be glad to sign up. We're tired of waste management. They increase their price every quarter. Service is bad and all this kind of stuff. And so it was just a golden opportunity, a market that was prime. In fact, we actually did a little bit of market research on figuring out if you look in the county, how many houses are there? And we had calculated 6,000 houses, and we were off. There was 9,000 houses. We had 400 customers, just in Victoria County. So I thought, man, the market's huge. There's a lot of potential. There's a lot of people that burn trash or do other things with them. So that's kind of what cued us in to say, hey, let's take a shot at this thing and see if we can make something out of it.
And I forgot to ask this in the beginning, the name. The name, where did the name, because that was one of the first things I thought it was brilliant because, so much of this thing is how do you make yourself stick out naturally, organically in a crowded market and all these things, or even a not crowded market, but how do you just make yourself stick out? And that was done from day one with you guys. I remember when I drove by, I think I saw a billboard the first time or something, but I laughed in my car. I was like, that's brilliant. Like it was just, it made me laugh, and I've always wanted to ask it, and where did the name come from?
Well, during the whole process of us doing the evaluation, trying to get everything put together to do it, BJ walks in, and she doesn't recall this, but I can remember it like it was yesterday. She walked into the kitchen one morning and says, hey, it's called the B&B trash service that we're purchasing. And I said, she goes, we need to change the name. What are we going to call it? And just off the top of my head, being a smart aleck, I said, let's call it white trash service. Well, multiple times throughout our marriage, I have popped off with something like that, jokingly.
Right.
And she didn't catch that it was a joke. She thought it was serious. So she started telling her friend, Scott wants to call this thing white trash service. And they're like, perfect.
I love it.
Go with it. It's wonderful. Well, take it even further. You familiar with Michael Berry?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Well, of course, I was in the car all the time, driving all over these places. And so every morning, every afternoon, I was listening to Michael Berry. So BJ says she went to a friend to do some marketing for us, to create a logo and some stuff for us. And she says, I know what you're doing, but I can't do it. She says, why not? Well, the name, I'm afraid, is going to offend people. And I don't want to be a part of it if it's going to offend people. So that made her nervous. Mm-hmm. So she comes home and tells me all about that. She goes, why don't you email your friend Michael Berry and see what he thinks? So I did. I sent him an email and told him what happened and everything. He goes, love it. Go with it.
Do it.
Well, I'd done that about the name initially. Mm-hmm. Then after this incident happened, I sent him another email back and told him what happened. He goes, look, you asked my opinion, I told you. You're not going to please everybody. So get used to that. 2, you've got self-made marketing. It's perfect. He said, I'd run with it. He said, if you afraid you're going to offend somebody, change it and be boring like everybody else. So
I love the advice. I love it. I think it's brilliant. And, between a catchy name, hard work, and then, we briefly touched on it earlier, you all's community presence was one of the things that, in addition to the clever name, made you guys jump out immediately to me, because when I opened Shaw Realty, one of the things that we discussed was growing through giving. And that was very important to us to, when you go into a new industry, they always tell you, go join this group, go join that group. And then you find yourself standing with a bunch of people against the wall that are there because they were told that this is where they need to go. And it doesn't feel pure. It doesn't feel organic. It feels like everybody's just kind of trying, Mm-hmm. And so we broke away from that at our office, and instead we started telling our agents to pursue what they were passionate about and what they enjoyed doing. So they were serving in their community with things they actually like. You guys are everywhere. You guys are everywhere, and helping, from young students up to adults to just all over the place. What made you guys decide that, your community influence and growing through giving, that also needs to play a huge role in our company, more so than just earning a buck, getting out there and picking up the trash, doing all that? What made you decide to invest back in the community, and why was that important to you?
I think we feel that we're lucky that we get to invest. I mean, it's not even an option.
Well, our family's always been very faith based and have a strong relationship with God. And that's one of his commandments, is to share what you make. And we've been blessed. All of this has been a huge blessing to us. So we like to share the blessing.
Well, we appreciate you for it. And you, Miss BJ, I can speak specifically to, I like that you stand your ground on things, and that you that's one of the things, whether people like it or hate it. Like, I always respect somebody that's willing to stand out there and take heavies and arrows for something they believe in, and some we may agree on, some we may disagree on, but I always respect the fact that you're willing to step out there and take whatever may come your direction to stand for what you guys believe in. And I respect that, and I appreciate that. And I wish more people would do it, and because all too often, it's like the name thing. Let's pick a boring name because we don't want to offend somebody. Well, those people aren't paying your bills. They're not, it's a lot of, sometimes you just got to stand. And I appreciate that. And so thank you guys for doing that. Thank you for all you do in the community. We're very grateful. And I appreciate what you all have brought to this county. Competition is good for people. And when you're stuck with one choice, you get waste management, whoever, I'm not throwing rocks, but it's nice to have options. And then the fact that you guys go and earn that business every day, and to see your growth, and to see you with over 5,000 customers, it's impressive. And so I appreciate you guys. Thanks for all you've done. Thanks for a fun time out here. I can't wait to go show my son the videos. He's going to think Dad is so cool. And so, guys, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. We've had a ton of fun. Make sure if you are eligible to get their services, check them out. Give them a call. Talk to them. Or run into them at some event around town, because I'm sure you'll see them out there, running and gunning and doing things. And so thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to our sponsors, and we will see you at the next one. Thanks so much for tuning in to Meet Victoria with Caleb Shaw. If you haven't done so already, make sure you comment below, share the videos. Really helps the algorithms. Also, make sure you like the page, follow the page. And if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Also, if you want to be featured on Meet Victoria, shoot us a message. We'd love to hear from you. And finally, make sure you support our great sponsors. We could not do this without them, and we're grateful and blessed to have them. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we will see you at the next one.